in the end, it finished 4-4. I think we can call that a Premier League classic as we welcome in Dimitar Berbatov and Mario Melchiot joining us in just a moment. Let's show you the table, though, to show you where Manchester United are as it stands right now. They are 6th at the moment after quite the game here, but it is more dropped points at Old Trafford, something that will be highlighted, no doubt. But let's talk now to Dimitar and Mario. Let me start with you, Dimitar, because what a game that ended up being. Absolute chaos from both sides.
Well, it was a crazy, crazy game. Unfortunately for everybody connected with United, it didn't end with a win for United. But this is the problems these days, that United are dropping points easily, conceding goals easily. When they get the lead, when they score goals, then the defense is not doing their job properly. Couple of the goals today going throughout the middle of the defense, where we had some very young players in the back in Heaven and Euro, but still was not good enough. When you get the lead, especially at Old Trafford, you need to hold it.
So you're annoyed to not come away with the win today then? You think they should have made sure that happened, Dimitar?
Yeah, because obviously they were going to be jumping to 4th place, I think, with 28 points. With game more than the rest, but still, though, it's a major boosting confidence when you get higher into the table. First half for them today was brilliant, to be honest, for United. Second half was a different story, and they were lucky not to concede a 5th goal in the 96 or 7 minutes. It was when it was a great save from the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Mario, as we saw in that game, both teams had the lead at one point. Both teams threw away leads. Both teams could have won it. What was your take on it?
No, I was watching the game. I just couldn't believe it because, I mean, as a neutral, you know, you go to the stadium, you think a lot of goals is fun. But if you look at any other team, you understand, well, whatever you're on, you look at it and you think, like, what's going on? Because first, you understand, they're going down, then they come back into the game, they start leading the game, and then you think, okay, you see Amarin going from the side, like kind of waving his hands and saying, like, we got to shut it down now. And they cannot shut it down. In the last 9 games, Man United have always conceded a goal. So how are they going to shut it down? Even when they're leading, you're still worried that you're going to concede. Okay, they concede after, and then, I mean, they were fortunate, like what Dimitar said. You know, at the end, they could easily concede way more goals than they conceded.
For United, it's 7 points dropped in the last 3 games at Old Trafford. That's something that you could see Amarim's face at the end. He was annoyed.
Well, we've kind of acknowledged that going to Old Trafford nowadays isn't what it was back in Dimitar's days, for example. But you see the issues, particularly with this Manchester United. Now, if you're Bournemouth, both teams, you scored 4 goals and somehow you haven't won the game, you're looking at issues defensively. Bournemouth have theirs, and you kind of want to excuse the goals they conceded as individual and maybe a one-off. Petrovic was a very good goalkeeper, but both those opening 2 goals were simply awful from him. And then they build on that. For Manchester United, though, defensively, in the build-up to the first goal, as Bournemouth leave 3 on Manchester United's back 3, they give the ball away left, Manchester United's left, and Bournemouth break. And Mason Mount is screaming for cover to come over, which is borderline hilarious when you kind of see it. But it highlighted the issue for Manchester United defensively. There is simply no pace through the middle of the park. So whenever the ball whenever the opponent finds himself in comfortable position, today Bournemouth and more times than not Tavernier, they were simply able to just run at this back 3. And as Dimitar mentioned, you've got 2 young centre-backs in Euro and Heavens, no real support. And then you've got talents like Tavernier and Evan Nielsen in trying to deal with those. It was absolutely a recipe for disaster. And the trouble is, from a Manchester United perspective, you wonder where the help is going to come from. I'm a huge Kobe Mainoo fan, but he doesn't have pace either. So now these are the questions. So again, my point being, for Bournemouth, you could look at individual errors, the goalkeeper. For Manchester United, it's more a squad issue. It's more a midfield issue. And I'm not sure how you fix that quickly.
What do you think, Dimitar?
Yeah, but...
Well, I completely agree, because not only that, but Amat, he is not a defender, but he's forced in a way to play almost like as a wing-back at times. When you have Evans and Euro always young players with a great future probably, but still at times unexperienced one. And it's like I saw the game through the middle of the defense, 2 of the goals there. This is a lack of understanding and anticipating the games at times. When you don't have that much pace anymore in the middle of the park, and you have someone who is more mobile and more pace in the middle of the park, they're gonna overpower you at times, and that can lead to danger, like if it was today. Credit to the opposition, of course. They will take the points, but they'll be probably regretting not winning in the last minute. But for United, major questions again are in the air. How can we stop leaking goals, even though we're playing with the 5s in the back, but we're still conceding goals, easy goals as well?
So what do you think the answer is, Dimitar? How to stop leaking those goals?
Well, if I knew the answer, I'll be the manager of United probably, But as everybody connected with the team, everybody is hoping that the solution to this question will be found in the near future, because dropping points in the back of the championship, when it finishes, you're still going to be far away from the first places where you want to be. So in the end, it's about the team performance, individual performance, of course, when you're in trouble. But as a team, as a system, as a players, they need to be better on the ball, when they don't have the ball tactically. But this comes with making mistakes and learn from it. Just learn more quickly when you're young players.
Mario, when you look at it with the defender's eyes, what do you think the solution is?
No, we talked about the guys at the back. You understand? I mean, I was one game I saw close, for example, for Heavens. It's a young kid he's playing, right? And when you're young, you want some help around you, but he's not really getting any help, and that's one of the key things. The other part is what I look at Man United is when they play against a big team, they're very compact. When they have so-called, with all the respect to Bournemouth, when they turn up, it looks like they're facing a team that's wide open. And they don't mind, and they don't like, we're talking about the pace, but the pace you can only tackle when you compress the game. But they don't compress it, they just put it wide open, because they have the feeling, and I think, like Omar has the feeling that I can really play them all, I can play them out. When I have the ball, I'm going to dictate the tempo, I'm going to find my pockets and everywhere where I can open the team up. But that's not happening, and I think that is what the biggest problem for Man United. And then the pressure, because you don't do that, you put more pressure on the back. When more pressure gets on the back, you start making silly mistakes.
Dimitar, you might have seen before the game as well that Ruben Amorim said that he and the United team are underachieving. Do you agree with that?
United is underachieving for many years now, and that's the problem as well. Everybody connected with the team knows it. Everybody expecting more. Every new season is expectation for something new, that this is going to be the season for let's go there and push further and further. Expectations are high for this season, and the pressure is there on the team to perform, on the manager to deliver. And when they are dropping points, of course, it's going to be underperforming. Everybody will see that. More than that, it's entertainment for everybody watching from the outside, like today's game. It was entertaining. Goals, chances, up and down the pitch. Yeah, that's all okay. But when you play for United, you want to win, especially at Old Trafford, especially like today, visitors, when, with all respect, they're lower in the table, they need the points, they're fighting for the points. But this is the games you need to win. This is the games when you don't drop points. Otherwise, you're dropping back into the table.
Dimitar, let me stay with you, because obviously there's another solution to be found for the games that lie ahead. You're taking a look at Manchester United's upcoming schedule, because we're looking at the games that the boys who are off to the Africa Cup of Nations, like Amad Diallo and Brian Mbeumo, could be missing, especially if their teams have a deep run. How are Manchester United going to fare without them?
Well, it's always difficult when some of your most talented and bright players and good in shape players go away. And the fixtures in and around the Boxing Days are the most important. I remember Sir Alex Ferguson telling us, if we get out of these fixtures with a lead and we stay at the top, then we'll have even more chances to be champions. So as long as they produce good results around the Boxing Days, where there's a lot of games to be played, and get out with a good sum of points, they will continue the season on a high. But as we saw, United have tendency to dropping points when you don't expect them or expect them, depending how you look the game. But this type of fixtures that are coming, they look good on paper, but at this moment of time, United can drop points, obviously, against anyone. So I am cautious and hoping they'll take their lessons from the mistake they're doing and, start to accumulate points. Otherwise, problem will arise, question will arise. Again, the future of Amorim will be under questioning. When you're United, you're always under the spotlight.
Yeah, it's always a rough run, isn't it? Those Christmas and Boxing Day fixtures, Shaka.
I'm looking at those fixtures, and just after Christmas, so Manchester United play out at home to Newcastle on Boxing Day, but then you've got Wolves, Leeds, Burnley, and Brighton in a 12-day span. Now, to Di Matteo's point, and maybe things fall nicely. Now, you should be beating Wolves, you should be beating Leeds, you should be beating Burnley. I say should, kind of recognising where we are and who we're talking about. The other games, though, are far more difficult. Villa are in a great run of form. Newcastle, Brighton, City are all tests for this Manchester United. So how you, to Di Matteo's point, how you come out of those, especially those 4 games in that 12 days, is a huge test in a squad that's already tested, losing players to the Africa Cup of Nations. Casemiro now suspended because of yellow cards. I spoke about how I don't feel Manchester United have the kind of depth for their deficiencies, particularly in midfield. It all of a sudden becomes a real concern for Manchester United. Now, I say that, and Di Matteo made the point, had Manchester United held on, had they won 4-3, all of a sudden we're talking about a team that are sitting 5th, same points as Chelsea in 4th, and maybe it feels a whole lot different. And I think that is because I think the top 3 will, particularly top 2 will run away with things. And then after that, it gets really tight. And you put together 2 or 3 wins, and it changes the complexion of everything that's gone on before. So we could be having a very different conversation about Manchester United. Again, that 12-day spell could kind of determine what that conversation looks like for the rest of the season.
What are the good things that you've seen then, Dimitar, that suggest there could be a positive run ahead?
Well, we scored 4 goals today. That's the positive. But obviously, when you score 4, you need to win the game. Unfortunately, that was not the case. And going back to that Christmas fixture around Boxing Days, you have on paper teams that you normally should beat. You should win games. But today was the same example. You should normally win against Bournemouth, right? You normally should win games like this at Old Trafford, but you don't. So this is the uncertainty and inconsistency that United is having again this season, where they should win the games, they don't. And sometimes against the big opposition, the big games, they surprise you and then win the games. But they should find that consistency. When you score 4 goals, normally you should win the game. But obviously that was not the case today. So the major concern is how to defend, compact, and not letting easy goals. Because we have the quality up front to score goals, to make chances, but compact in the back should be working better.
One thing's for sure, Mario, you can't miss Manchester United at the moment. You've got to watch them.
No, of course. I mean, it's a big team. Regardless if you go and play there, you want to beat them. If they come to you, you want to win too. It doesn't matter what Man United is in the league. They will always have that. Everybody will watch them in that kind of sense. So that's why, for them, they got to, do something about it. Because now, even we're talking about the players who are leaving, right? So some are going to take over the positions. But some of the guys that are taking over the position aren't even playing. So you put Mino on today, for example. The kid is nowhere near the rhythm that he needs to be. But how can you say? You can say okay, it's a mistake of the kid, or you say it's the mistake of the coach by prepping him better, and you say when you're going to use him. But if you don't use somebody for such a long period and then you put him on, that's also like you're putting someone in you're dropping into the fire. And I think sometimes, players have to be smart, that can happen, but also coaches have to be smart, that have to be careful that they don't do that with too many of them, because when they go away and you do that too much, your team even gets worse.
Yeah. Now, leaders Arsenal have been a little shaky in their last few Premier League matches, including their last outing against Wolves, where they relied on 2 own goals to win the game. On Saturday's ESPN FC, Stevie Nicol was critical of their performance.
Just a complete and utter lack of flair. I mean, at the end of the day, there are far too many players today who just are overcoached. Right. And coaches, as good as Pep is, you got Arteta doing the same thing. Mascara, maybe not so much with Chelsea, but there's just so much coaching going on. There's no flair. Nobody's got any idea. Nobody can take responsibility. They're scared to throw the ball in the box after 30 minutes when it's 0-0 because they're going to get into trouble. Well, we don't do that. We keep the ball. We're patient. We're playing against a team who, regardless, is not going anywhere. All they're doing is shuffling side to side. They ain't going to come and close you. They ain't doing anything. So you have to take the initiative, and then you have to take a chance. And the only person that seems capable of taking a chance is Saka. After that, everybody wants to follow the coaching badges. So, yeah, a complete and utter lack of flair. And Craig said it, lucky.
Dimitar and Mario still with us. Mario, you're laughing when you hear what Stevie said there. Do you think players are overcoached these days?
No, because I think, like even for all the guys who are sitting there, and Dimitar, it's similar, we come from the streets. We play football on the streets. So when you're going to prep us like we're almost like a robot, we're not going to produce the things that you want to see. And I think that's what he's jumping on, because clearly Stevie's time was definitely street football. I come from Amsterdam. That's the only thing, you understand? Like, that's what we do. We go on the street, play the balls. But nowadays, sometimes the kids go like, no, it hurts when I fall down. No, it's not about that. Or you listen too much to your coach. Because sometimes you have a coach in front of you, and he tells you exactly what to do. I tell you, yes, you have to listen to some of the things he says. But don't lose your own spark. But by losing your own spark is not... You got to test your coach too. Just like you test your parents, you got to test your coach too and take the ball on and dribble past people. And some players just don't do that. And I'm like, why not? Do it.
What do you think?
They don't do it.
What do you think of all
God.
this, Dimitar? Because obviously these players have the flair. Are you seeing enough of it from them, or do you think that they are overcoached?
Well, times are different, obviously, since our times when we used to play, and probably now it's a bit more tactical, yes. Let's not forget that the points count, and sometimes, depending who your manager is, yes, you can challenge him, but then if you have someone like Pep, Klopp, you want to please them, you want to do what they say, you want to play. And you want to be the guy that is going to do what the coach is saying. Of course, if you're someone with more flair, you will challenge the coach and you want to show how good you are actually on the pitch. And you have players like this, the artists on the pitch, the guys that make the difference. They still are there, and hopefully they will continue to be there, like Bruno Fernandes is for United, the guy who can make the difference, who can score from a free kick, a brilliant goal, or can make an assist. You still have players like this. And for the sake of the game, I hope that we're going to have plenty more, because when you go to the games, you want to see goals, you want to see entertainment, of course, with end result, because you want your team to win. That's not the case always, but you want to go home and you'll be like, oh my God, what I watched today.
What do you think the solution to it is, Mario?
No, just give them some more freedom. I mean, like, we're talking about Saka. When we play football, right? We want the wingers to get on the ball, and what we want nowadays that we play football, you want your wingers to score. But if your winger is a robot, he's not going to do that. So when Saka gets on the ball, okay, we know he likes to go inside. You block the inside, he goes outside. So that is why we enjoy watching him. Okay, Martinelli dropped a little bit in the effect of what he normally has. But, this is what I like. When I watch football, even if I don't support that team, I enjoy when I see people dribble and make the other opponent put some fear in him when he runs at you. That's the joy of football, I think.
To be honest, to your question, the solution is players like Eze, who Arsenal signed this summer. But yet still, certainly since 4 goals against Spurs, you've not seen anything like the player that certainly we knew at Crystal Palace, who played with freedom and played with flair, and certainly in that game against Spurs, did so to really good effect. But the point that Stevie is making, and you see it with both Pep and Arteta, is the game has become a version of chess. If I move this piece here, if this player goes here, I want the other players to do X. And as a result, there's no real creativity unless that player is just given a freedom where everybody else around them is going to do as they're instructed. and one player is given the freedom of the park to play with that player, and that again is down to the coaching. You know, this is not a player's issue, because you can't tell me that Eze is a robotic player. You never has been. But now, all of a sudden, that's kind of the conversation. Well, that's not the conversation. The conversation is, where is the Eze that we knew at Crystal Palace, that we saw a few weeks ago against Spurs? And that, for me, again, comes down to how Arsenal are organised. We sit here every single week, almost regardless of the result, and say it's a very professional performance. And that's who Arsenal are. You know what they're going to do. They're going to do it better than you, but you can't stop it.
What did you like best, Dimitar, yourself when you were playing? What did you like to hear from a coach, and what was the balance between those directions and the tactics and being able to use your own flair as a player?
Well, I think every player likes to know that the coach trusts him. When you know that the coach trusts in your ability, you're more free to play on the pitch and not afraid to make mistakes. Then you can fully express yourself, knowing that even if you make a mistake, the coach is behind you, so you're free in your mind to express the best of you on the pitch. In my case, of course, it was always about entertainment, because this is how I saw the game. But in the end, you should have the end result, you know, the 3 points, to beat the opposition, because you play for trophies. You play for something that, you know, when you look back, you want to see that you won something. And because we spoke about Arsenal just now, I think that the approach they are taking in some games is pragmatical or direct, because for them it's about winning the title this season. They know they have that chance. They've been too much second place team, so now it's win it or lose it for them this season. And that's why sometimes it's more about how we win. Even if ugly, we need to win it. And sometimes this is what you need, unfortunately, for everybody who loves beautiful football. Win ugly, win ugly, win ugly. In the end of the season, you're first place. Everybody will love it, all the fans. If you can win it by playing entertaining football, even better, of course. But sometimes football doesn't work like that.
No, that's definitely the case, isn't it? And Liverpool have found that out for themselves this season, obviously trying to defend the title. Hasn't quite gone their way so far. This past weekend, though, not only saw Mohamed Salah come off the bench for Liverpool, he also became the sole player with the most goal contributions for a single club, surpassing Wayne Rooney. It's 277 goal contributions for Mohamed Salah right now. His corner kick assisting Ekitike for Liverpool's second. We've talked a lot about Salah's current situation a lot over the last week, Dimitar. What have you made of everything that's been going on between him and Liverpool and his comments about him not being happy?
Well, it's a difficult situation, because we speak here about Mo Salah, one of the best Liverpool performers in the last years, someone who was carrying the team on his shoulders, scoring goals, winning titles, medals, trophies, everything. And it's sad and like disappointing to watch something like this unfold between a star player and the club. It happened before, it will happen in the future. I've also been in a situation like this where you need to, try to show your ugly side to the team if you're in a situation that you think you need to show it. And in the case of Mo Salah, in his case, big player with big ego, he probably thinks he's unfairly, put on the bench. He's not playing, that in his own words, thrown under the bus. And he wanted to express that so everybody can see it, maybe provoke a reaction from the team, from the coach. He was hurt, of course. Again, when you're a big player with big ego and you're not playing, it's difficult to swallow it. It's difficult to accept it, even though sometimes you deserve to stay on the bench. I think it was the same situation with Ronaldo in United in his second spell, where he had similar problems, The good thing, I think, is that after the conversation with Slot, probably he was back in the team, making an assist, now having 277 involvement in goals, chance created, surpassing Wayne Rooney. It's a big, big achievement. So let's hope, even though I was rival to Liverpool, but you need to give credit where credit is due, that he's going to be back into the team, because he's still, in my mind, the most creative player, the player who can score and make assists for the team.
Yeah, and Anfield certainly showed their appreciation for him, Mario. Do you think he'll stay at Liverpool?
If you don't want to play anymore, definitely a player that is in his situation, he could definitely pull the plug and say like, no, I don't want to play the last game anymore. I'm just straight away going to the African nations, and after that I will fix the problem. I think they calmed it down because I think both parties are not willing yet to make that step. That is because if not, normally a player that makes an outburst like that will get in big problems. But Liverpool tried to calm it down really quickly, and how they did it, okay, they had a conversation here in Slot. And Slot, in the interview, you saw that he said like, okay, we moved on and now we got to take the next step. And that is a little bit how I know Slot. Slot is the guy that he grabs the bull by his horn and then try to fix it and then moves on to the next step. So I hope we all want to see Salah. I want to see Salah to get back to his best because last season he made me enjoy football. So I hope they can figure it out and smooth it out because if not, Salah, it's tough to win against a team.
Do you think it is hard to guess what's going to happen next here, Shaka?
I do. I mean, and for financial reasons, if Mo Salah was on $4,000 a week, it's easy. You keep him on. But at 400 grand a week,
A little different.
It's a little bit more in that regard. And especially if say, Saudi Arabia table a really big bid this January, then, from a Liverpool perspective, do you continue to carry that wage packet for if Mo Salah does not get back to the Mo Salah that we saw even as soon as last season? Do you carry that for another season and a half? And it's not worth it if you only get what you've seen from Mo Salah so far this season. Especially again, as I say, if Saudi Arabia table a really big bid. So it really just comes down to financial decision, and I don't think you can make a decision until you know Saudi Arabia's true interest.
Okay, so that's one of the big storylines from the Premier League at the weekend. Another was what's going on at Tottenham Hotspur right now. And given that we have got Dimitar Berbatov on, let's get him to talk about another of his former teams. It was a rough weekend. It was a 3-0 loss to Nottingham Forest. Thomas Frank was asked about his job security after the game.
I do everything to control my emotions, which is a hurricane inside me, because, of course, it's deeply frustrating that we are not doing better today after 3 good performances. I think it's extremely important to be calm and measured and, of course, have very, very direct and clear messages at the right time so they're not in doubt of what I think, and very honest about where we are. That's why I was also very honest today. It was a very bad performance. No two ways about that. But also know that to change this will take some time.
You're at a club that maybe the average kind of time span of managers hasn't been that long. Do you feel that you'll get time to put everything you want into place?
I can't see why not. I think it's pretty evident that if no one gets the time, no one can turn this around. This is not a quick fix.
All right, Mario's still with us, but Dimitar, let's put that Spurs hat on now if we can. Do you think Thomas Frank should be given more time here at Spurs?
Oh, man. I mean, every time when we speak about Spurs, I'm wondering what to say because the performance against Nottingham Forest in the last game, I mean, it was poor performance. I really thought that after Spurs won that trophy, they will build on it. But unfortunately, it's the same old story with that inconsistency that Spurs are showing constantly. They can have a great game, they can win beautiful football, etc. But then all of a sudden something happened and the drop of form is evident for everybody to see. Mistakes, leaking goals, losing, dropping points. Of course, then the manager, and Thomas Frank is up there in front of everybody, answering difficult questions, asked about his future, of course. I think that hopefully they'll give him time to turn things around because Spurs are sitting 11 into the table. Again, difficult fixtures lie ahead. They have a lot of football to play, of course. As I said, Boxing Days, around Christmas fixtures, very important for them. But if they don't find the consistency of winning games, it's going to be the same old story and middle of the table finish in the end of the season.
Dimitar, why do you think it is that when Spurs are bad, they're not just a little bit bad, they're really bad?
Honestly, I can pretend to give you an answer, but probably I don't know. We've been there. We played. We lost games. We won games. We make bad decisions constantly on the pitch. But with Spurs, sometimes, as you mentioned, when you're bad, they're really poor, really bad, and everybody's suffering watching the game. And then the manager is sitting there with that expression on his face that he wanted to say something really bad, but he cannot allow himself to say it. He wants to be angry, and he is angry, and you can see it on his face, but he's trying to control it. But sooner or later he needs to let loose. Is it going to be at front of everybody to see, like we had it in the past with certain managers on the press conference, or he's going to be in the dressing room, in the private of the dressing room, and tell the players what exactly he thinks, because he needs to do it sometimes. He needs to kick them in the butt and say, come on, it's Spurs. Spurs team is always someone that you need to entertain, but win games, but not all the time the same old stories, dropping points and inconsistency. It cannot be that all the time.
Okay, one thing that we need to bring up with you, Shaka, is Vicario.
Because of the near post run, so he gets sucked under the cross. So that's his fault. The first, I don't think that's down to him at all. It is a risky ball, but that's how Spurs play. Romero is wide open. That's a one-touch pass, if ever I've seen one. This is professional football. Why you take a touch there is simply beyond me. And that is what brought about the goal. So for me, I don't think Vicario bears much blame for the first. For the second, that'll go down as a goalkeeping error. But again, I sympathise.
Mario?
Look, you know me at Spurs, I have to look at Dimitri. He's already going back because he knows. Okay, listen, what I will tell you, I'll keep it short, my friend. Don't worry about it. You know what I only think is the strategy of the coaches that they hire. Because every time they bring in a coach, they got to renew everything. And I think that's the biggest problem, because if every time you bring in a coach, he goes this system, then the new one goes that system. So it's also for the team not really structured properly, because you don't know what he wants. Like, okay, Mourinho, more defensively, break everything up, sit there. Okay, then you get another coach, he wants to play a high line, more attacking. Now you get a coach who wants to play in the middle and wants everybody to be, a level of fitness has to be incredible. But the players are not ready for that. So I think now Spurs they have to have that red line through the club and understanding what are we building, what do we want to achieve, and what is the time frame we need to get to where we want. And if we keep doing it like this, it's going to go up and down. You win a trophy, then you got to wait for a couple of more years before you win something else. That's not good. The club is too big for that.
Okay. Something else we saw in the Premier League at the weekend was the Tyne-Wear derby. Sunderland taking on Newcastle. Now, this was almost 2 years ago. It was January 2024. Newcastle beat Sunderland in the third round of the FA Cup and celebrated by taking a photo in front of the stands at the Stadium of Light. There you go. He's the mayor of Newcastle, and even he can say fair play.
I'll be honest, I enjoy the petty. I applaud the petty. During the game, on their scoreboard, they had Sunderland and visitors. They didn't
I love that.
They didn't have Newcastle's name up on the
scoreboard.
scoreboard.
No badge, nothing, just visitors.
They just had Sunderland 1, visitors 0. I applaud the petty.
Yeah.
Well done.
You like the pettiness, Mario?
Yeah, I saw that, exactly what Shaka said. I saw that too. I was like, huh? There's no logo of Newcastle on it. No, not even the name of the club. They just put visitors. And I was like, to come with a tactical move like that for a team to put you like that, I was like, hey, they are ahead of the game. No, honestly, they did well. They did well. And the picture afterwards, no, I'm so sorry, Shaka. Hey, your team came. They worked hard, but the hard work didn't work because Sunderland worked harder. So that's why, no, your team was not doing it.
Just before we go to Dimitar on this, we need to mention Shaka's mum. Shaka's mum's message.
we were sitting here during the Bundesliga game. My mom messages as like, what a goal by Voltemada. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is great. I'm all excited. Right? I'm not, we're doing our German game. Only to find out it's an own goal.
Yeah.
Oh,
cheers, Mum.
Man.
Cheers, Mum. Not
Cheers,
explaining
Mum.
it was actually an own goal, and Shaka thinking that there's been a goal from Voltemada.
I thought the visitors had taken the lead. I thought visitors were one up.
No, the visitors had not. Dimitar, did you have a long memory in football? Do you like these revenge tactics?
Actually, I enjoy that because it's a banter of way that, you win, you lose some. then you want to give it back to the guys you're competing with. In this case, I love it, to be honest. The first picture with Newcastle, with the fans, and Sunderland, obviously, showing the same thing. This is sometimes the football emotion it gives you when it's making a good way of the banter, of the way of, yes, you beat us last time, but now we beat you, so we're going to give it back. I love that, to be honest. I love it.
Let me also say, back in I played in the time where derbies where no away fans were allowed, where it was just that kind of there was so much animosity between two sets of fans that there was no away fans, and it made for an awful atmosphere just from a footballing perspective. But I thought it takes so much away from the game. But then you see this, and this I think players love, I think fans love. This is good banter that anybody can, even an honorary Geordie can appreciate. I'm with everybody on this. I loved it.
You know why? Because the best people are from the north. East.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard from people close to me.
Now, something else that we know Dimitar really enjoys is working out. There's a few of our panel that are big fans of working out, but look at this.
Are you a Jedi? What are you doing?
He's a ninja.
Guys.
He's a ninja, man.
We need to stay in shape, right? We need to stay in shape.
What are you training for? Unless you training to take on the whole Death Star by yourself. I don't know. What are you doing?
I already had 9 games this
I totally agree with him.
Games. I need to be in shape.
Now, run a 5K.
Is that not, you weren't doing that at the ESPN gym today?
I'm fairly certain I wasn't doing that. I'm sure I wasn't.
Can you do that, Mario?
Oh my God. No, I have never done what he did, what Dimitar did, but I definitely, let's say it like this, Kate, I make sure that my belly never gets in trouble.
Okay.
Well,
because I want to make sure he gets too big. I don't want a big. No, I don't want that.
I love that. There's a few fit ones on this panel, but Dimitar is definitely raising the game there.
That takes the lead.
Luis Garcia might need to up his game after we've seen that.
Yep.
He's usually up there. Dimitar, thank you so much for being with us. Hopefully it will be for more positive things next time for Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur.
Have a good week. Have a good week one of these days, Dimitar.
Well, next time.
Lovely stuff. And so Mario and Chaka will be on the latest edition of Extra Time answering your questions. You can check it out over on our YouTube channel. Here's a look at Chelsea's last 5 results. Now remember Enzo Maresca's remarks after the Everton win the other day when he claimed that the previous 48 hours had been his worst at Stamford Bridge because many people didn't support him and the team. Well, he was asked to clarify those comments in his latest press conference ahead of the EFL Cup game with Cardiff tomorrow.
The comments you made on Saturday evening obviously created a lot of headlines and a lot of interest. What did you mean exactly by those comments and what did you want to achieve?
I already spoke about that and I don't have nothing to add.
But obviously, what you said.
It's Cardiff tomorrow, please.
But you don't want to address at all the fact that what you said?
I already spoke about that, and I think I was quite clear. No more than that. I can speak Italian, my language, Spanish very well, French very well, and English more or less. But I think when I want to say something, I'm quite clear. I already spoke after the game. I don't need to add more. If you want, I can try in Italian, Spanish, French, so you all aware. It's done. It's finished.
Oh, I don't think it is finished, Mario. What did you make of it all?
This was a tactical setup. This is a man speaking, but below the line is a different current, traveling there. So what is he saying? Is he saying something towards the owners? I don't think so, because as a manager, he knows how the club is. I think the club will, put him in a different situation. I think then it has to be the press, that he's not, happy with how the press is judging and what they're saying about his team, and he's not happy the way it's coming out. So that's why he made that comment. Look, could he finish the sentence? Yeah, of course. but he doesn't want to put even more fire on it. But let's see what's going to happen next now.
I'll be honest, I love it. Steve Nicola always says, just because somebody asks you a question doesn't mean you have to answer it. And Enzo Maresca embodied that. He's like, I'm not answering that.
Yep.
Move on. You can ask it again in French if you want, and I still won't answer it.
Even though I started it all the other day.
Right, yeah. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. He makes a statement in a moment of frustration, whatever it is, but he makes a statement, and now I'm done with that. Let's talk about what's to come this weekend. And you can ask it however you want, in whatever language you want. Just because somebody asks you a question doesn't mean you have to answer it. Well played, Enzo.
I hope somebody asks him tomorrow in Welsh. Anyway, make sure to join the team tomorrow to see if they do ask him again to clarify his comments after that game with Cardiff in the EFL Cup quarter-final. The boys will be with you on ESPN+. Copa del Rey coming up this week. Guadalajara against Barcelona on Tuesday and Atletico Baleares against Atleti on Wednesday before Talavera against Real Madrid. All of these games available on ESPN+. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Oh, it's been quite the day today. We've seen quite the game between Manchester United.
Still exhausted from watching
Oh my
that
goodness, we're exhausted. Mario, where is he? Look, don't be sneaking off, Mario. There he is. He's staying up late for us.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm here.
He's off to do some Berbatov sit-ups.
Berbatov.
Wow. What is that man doing?
Like it was nothing.
He does it like it's like every day. You know what? I saw Zlatan doing the same. So them two are good friends.
Was it like, what was it?
So
Yeah, punch
he
bag.
kind of gripped the punch bag with his legs and then, oh yeah, good God, man.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Here it is.
What are you training for? Poor dog. The poor dog's like, I don't even know what to do here.
What's he training for? To sit and watch Manchester United and Tottenham this season?
What do you need to do that for?
Well, he's set a new bar now.
He's got some power there, man.
I'm not sure that's going to get beat. King of the gym. He's king of the gym.
King of the home gym. Okay. Shaka, what are the signs in a game that indicates that it would end like how the Manchester United-Bournemouth game ended today?
None. Other than just everybody's having a bad day. I mean, you really, no coach spends a week working with their team expecting that. You really don't. You really don't. That game just kind of came off the hinges and went its own way, however it wanted. And, you know, as I was saying during the show, I just feel that Bournemouth were able to pick on Manchester United's softest spot, their midfield. And Manchester United, between goalkeeping errors and absolute moments of brilliance, so you have to say from Cunha and Bruno Fernandes, that's what they can do. So you just have those two things playing off against each other. And even with 5 minutes, even as you go into injury time, nobody dared predict how it was going to finish. Because it was just these two teams just going at each other with so little regard for anything that's happening down in the back there. You all just defend as best you can. It was fun. I'm sure it's awful for the coaches because that's not what they planned for.
Oh, that's up there with the Premier League classic games, though, surely, Mario.
Oh my God, I think it's more than classic. Like Shaka said, imagine you are during the week, Kate, and you're training and you're telling your team, okay, let's prep for 4 goals that we can concede. No, you're not gonna do that because it would be crazy. But just how he preps his team, I cannot imagine that he is not gonna watch that and says, we gotta give more respect because we are not a team that can dictate everything in the game yet. Because that's what we were and this is what we are now. So he needs to work on that because if not, everybody, Bournemouth comes to your stadium and beats you, or no, not beat you, but draws against you at 4 goals. It's a joke.
Here's another goalkeeping worse question for you, Shaka. Who's been worse tonight, Petrovic or Lamens?
Lamens was good tonight. What do you mean worse?
It's just haters of goalkeepers, I think.
I thought, and listen, I'll hold my hand up. I thought Lamens would have struggled with this Manchester United team, primarily because of how poor they are defensively, and he's a young, relatively inexperienced goalkeeper. but I thought he's been outstanding since his inclusion. So to this question, I'm not sure that it's any kind of contest. Petrovic had 2 glaring errors, and I thought Lamens, particularly that save late on, I thought was absolutely outstanding. I mean, the reactions, everything. At least I thought he was outstanding throughout. So, as I say, it's not any kind of contest in my mind.
Mario, can really Aston Villa challenge for the title? Can Aston Villa really challenge for the title?
No, look. I think they're on a great run. Yes, everybody have to highlight that. And the way they started, because it was kind of tricky in the beginning, and now where they are now, they're winning. They're on a good run of games, and they keep on winning. But are they ready for the title? No, I'll be honest. I don't think yet, because I don't think that team is built yet to win the title. I think when I look at Aston Villa, it's a team that's built for making sure they make it to the Champions League. But now they want to take it a step ahead, and I think that will need a little bit more building. But are they a great team? I mean, we're going to talk about the Rodgers. Yeah, of course they have some talents in the team that do some great things for them.
Let me just say, right, this season has become so hard to predict in so many ways. Aston Villa were a injury time winner for Arsenal against bottom of the table Wolves to being a point off the top. Man City had, but for that winner, Man City and Arsenal would have been tied at the top and Villa a point back. 8 weeks ago, I thought you could call the season off now. Arsenal are winning it. Nobody's catching them. But that's how thin the margins are. And we've spoken about everybody else outside of that. You win 3 games, all of a sudden you're in the top 4. I regard it, and that's probably going down to about 12th or 13th place. You win 3 games, and you're in the top 4. This is as crazy a season as we'll see.
Yes, absolutely. Who's going to win the Ballon d'Or first, Haaland or Mbappe?
Mbappe.
Ooh, yeah, I think so too.
Mbappe?
Because that comes down also, look, if City wins the league, and then it's going to come down to the Champions League. You see what's going to happen with that. And I think that question is going to be put in the middle but Real Madrid, I don't want to disrespect City because it's a big club too. But Real Madrid, guys, the level where they are is just, a little bit more pressure than what Haaland has. They both have pressure, but I think Mbappe is a little bit more.
Guys, what's one country you visited that surprised you the most? And that can be good or bad, I suppose.
Well, first of all, let me just say, as footballers, you travel a lot. You have these incredible stamps in your passport, but a hotel room is a hotel room, a football stadium is a football stadium. So you have these stamps, but it really could be anywhere. So you're kind of looking at places that you've been on holiday. Somewhere that my wife and I went to Malta 1 year. That was outstanding. It really was. We didn't, well, to be honest here, we didn't know, we had a weekend off and decided to travel, and Malta is one of the few countries that we could go to where my wife could get in on her Trinidad and Tobago passport without a visa. So we just were like, all right, we go to Malta, and we loved it. It was absolutely fantastic. So Malta gets my vote.
Nice. What about you, Mario?
I think I'm disputing with 2, because one was Bali. Why? Because Bali has some of the food that I eat from Suriname, because that's my background. And it was nasi, so I loved it. But then South Africa topped it. Oh, going to South Africa, I'm telling you. That's where I fell in love with Nando's. But when I went there, I'm telling you, Kate, just the weather, the beauty, you understand? And just everything, being there, I'm telling you, oh man, if you guys never been to South Africa, I'm telling you right now, go and take your time. Take your time, don't run.
I'm with Mario on that, right? So Nando's is in South Africa, it's originally from South Africa. Nando's is that's a tourist attraction. I love Nando's in South Africa myself.
Why can't someone bring it here to the United States?
Amen.
It is.
Where about? It's not up in Connecticut.
There's one just outside DC in Bethesda.
It's a chicken restaurant, by the way.
Yeah, there's one just outside DC in Bethesda. I think there's a couple around the country, but not many. But not. No, I'm gonna give away way too much. So Nando's is originally from South Africa. They franchise around South Africa all the stores outside of South Africa are corporate owned. They don't franchise. So to expand, they kind of have to come up with the cash as opposed to a franchise model which allows you to expand. I know way too much about
I know,
Nando's
but is
chicken.
it true though? Yeah, I need to know because you guys were
No,
professional
he's right.
footballers. Is it true that many footballers have a special Nando's card? Like a kind of black card?
What?
Oh.
Did you know about this?
I'm about
No,
to
I don't
ask
know
some
about
serious
that. I don't know
questions
about
here.
that, Kate.
I'm about to ask some questions now.
One of those rumours that I never had confirmed or not. That there was
You're
a
more
special
than Nando's
card
I eat
No.
and I never get a card. I'm going to ask some questions of Nando's
I
now.
can tell you, no. I got some answers for you, but I don't know about the card. Look, when I was at Chelsea, I had a driver, right, a taxi driver right next to Nando's. I used to call him, and he would bring my food to the house. I had the Uber before Uber even came out. So he would drop it off.
You had Uber Eats before Uber came out.
Exactly, yeah. And then if my mom or my family was at home, I would call him and I say, I would be, let's say in Manchester, I would say, can you drop off some Nando's and this and this? He will pick it up and the Nando's people will give it to him and then he will drop it off and I will give them tickets to come to the game. So that was my pay and that was my enjoyment.
You should have come up with that idea. You would have been on to something there, Mario.
That's
You can
right.
buy the peri-peri sauce in like supermarkets and everything now.
Yeah.
All right. Mario famously had 3 to 8 birthdays a year for Chelsea, allowing his teammates to enjoy nights out with him. What was your go-to excuse to ensure a good night out?
Oh, yes, some will. Yeah. Call me, man. I have a birthday. Call me. So I tell my wife, hey, yeah, it's a birthday, son. Some other guys would drop that. Yeah, that was like an incredible one. But me, no. I don't know. Maybe I'm classic raised. And so I will tell the missus, I'm sorry, darling. I'm going out with the boys. So I don't have problems in that sense. But I also will not be the guy that be crazy and going every week crazy because I don't drink. So that's why I'll come home normally.
I love that. Oh, it's someone's birthday. I've got to go.
I've got to go. I used to mandatory golf day. Mandatory team-wide golf day was always a winner. Well, like that, especially at Newcastle because Keegan used to play golf all the time. So it was highly believable. But yeah, Keegan said everybody got to come play golf. There you go play golf. Happy day, woo! Yeah, I didn't come home in as good condition as Mario did though. No.
Well,
No.
doesn't drink, but he does eat Nando's.
A lot of it.
A lot of it. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. We'll be back tomorrow with lots more.